Welcome to the Den, the Dark Entertainment Network. I'm the Gothic Rose, and this is the dark tale of the day. Welcome to the Den, the Dark Entertainment Network. I'm the Gothic Rose, and this is a channel where the news meets conspiracy theories. It makes babies in my brain, and it comes out my mouth. If you like this type of content, be sure to like, subscribe, follow, and hit that bell. Hello, dear fiends of the den. We are back and we are talking the haunted history of Hollywood. And I have discovered so many stars in the 1920s that met the same fate of peritonitis. And we're going to talk about this because it is odd. And let's see what the connections can be here in the den. Hello, dear fiends of the den. We are back and we are talking the haunted history of Hollywood. And I have discovered so many stars in the 1920s that met the same fate of peritonitis. And we're going to talk about this because it is odd. And let's see what the connections can be here in the den. So, as I mentioned when I was talking about Fatty Arbuckle and his trial concerning the death of Virginia Rapp, she passed away from peritonitis, which is a serious condition in which the peritoneum, the thin layer of tissue that lines the abdomen, becomes inflamed, typically due to an infection. It could be caused by bacteria or fungi, often resulting from a ruptured organ, such as a burst appendix. Now, there is a long list besides Virginia Rapp who passed away due to peritonitis in the 1920s. So we spoke about Virginia Rapp, the silent film actress whose mysterious death led to a scandal involving actor Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle, who went through three different trials, two mistrials, and the final trial he was acquitted, and the jury apologized to him for everything he went through with being associated with the death of Virginia Rapp when it turned out it was medical. Now, Enrico Caruso, the legendary Italian opera singer, also died of peritonitis in 1921. And Sherwood Anderson, he passed away in 1941, but his death was due to peritonitis caused by swallowing a toothpick. So do not swallow toothpicks. Oh my. Then I already spoke about Harry Houdini and Rudolph Valentino. So Houdini developed peritonitis after suffering a ruptured appendix, which was likely aggravated by a punch to the stomach he received days earlier. And that was in Montreal when he was talking to college students. And someone asked if he could take any punch. And the story goes, as Houdini was not ready yet and preparing himself, this student just wailed a massive blow to his stomach, and he ignored the pain for days and continued to perform. Now, Valentino, who passed away, suffered from a perforated peptic ulcer, which led to peritonitis and ultimately organ failure. And their deaths were only 2 months apart, Houdini and Valentino. Both of these men passed away in 1926. Doing a little research into the historical records, it indicates that peritonitis was a significant cause of death in the early 20th century. The exact number is tricky, but I looked up vital statistics of the United States 1890 to 1938, and that tracks mortality data from that era. And that's on the CDC website. There was a lot there. So if you guys want me to check that out, absolutely leave me a comment and I will. Out of curiosity, I had to look up some medical information of what life was like in the 1920s and why peritonitis could have been an epidemic. So Life in the 1920s was a mix of rapid modernization and lingering public health challenges. So the decade was known for economic growth, jazz and cultural shifts, and medical advancements were still catching up. So peritonitis was not really an epidemic, but it was a serious and often fatal condition due to the following factors. So, the fact that there was limited antibiotics because penicillin wasn't discovered until 1928, meaning bacterial infections like peritonitis were much harder to treat. And then there were surgical risks because medical procedures lacked modern sterilization techniques, increasing the risk of post surgical infection. And then there was poor sanitation in some areas. While cities were improving sanitation, rural areas still struggled with hygiene, making infections more common. The high rates of appendicitis. So, appendicitis was a frequent medical emergency in the 1920s, and without quick surgical intervention, it often led to peritonitis. And of course, delayed medical treatment because many people ignored symptoms or lacked access to proper health care, allowing infections to worsen. But if we go over Houdini, Valentino, Virginia Rapp, Enrico Caruso, and Sherwood Anderson, they were all Hollywood. Why didn't they have access to the best medical care? Why weren't the studios looking out for them and their health? It's very odd because they were all in the same place at that time. They were all in Hollywood. Part of the reason I began the haunted history of Hollywood is due to the fact that I realized what a dark place it was during the whole, well, first the Johnny Depp trial and now the It Ends With Us trial. And I feel that the worst in everyone and everything is being covered up by these little indiscretions that they push forward because we know that Hollywood has deeper, darker secrets than SH. We also know from the Diddy trial how depraved some of Hollywood can be. We know that there is a lot of child exploitation in Hollywood. Many child actors have been speaking out about it for years. We also know that there are so many mysterious deaths in Hollywood that do not have full closure and have lots of questions, more questions than answers. And part of that is what inspired the Haunted Hollywood history as well. So, thank you so much for joining me on this episode, and let's continue to find out what makes Hollywood tick. If you have any dark tales of Hollywood you would like to share, from movies to actors to directors, producers, anything you've got, email me at welcome to the den podcast at gmail.com. Thank you, dear fiends of the den. I appreciate each and every one of you who is part of this community. And if you do like this content, please share, like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell. Thank you for joining me in the den. The Dark Entertainment Network is here for all your macabre needs.